the process starts with a vision. This is what we're working with Erickson Coaching. And we want to assist people to expand their vision of what they think is possible. Because if we take on very little pieces of possibility, that's what we achieve. And if we take on much bigger pieces of possibility, that's what we achieve. And so that's what the world game is all about. Since you mentioned this lady, let me tell you more about the Spirulina project. Because that is, I said there's 3 levels. One is personal level, and I'll come back to that. There's a lot we can do as individuals, including just talking to people. I'm talking to people all the time on planes. I never used to. I'm talking to people when I'm getting my hair cut. And I'm talking about the state of our planet and what needs to be done. And I'm often meeting people who have no idea about this. And they say, "What? Really?" And they're surprised. So one of the things we can do is simply talk to people. That's on the personal level. Then there's the level of coaching. And the level of coaching is huge, as I mentioned earlier, and I'll say more about that. The third level is the level of creating projects. And that's what we're doing individually as well, but taking on leadership areas. So with Spirulina, this is one of my big areas. Frankly, I and about 5 other coaches from Erickson are going for Bill Gates's big $50 million prize. And Bill Gates has said that if people put together an ecology project that literally can shift the world fast, he's willing to throw $50 million into it. So this inspires me. And I see Spirulina as being a huge potential because it does carbon capture magnificently. Right now, we need another continent full of trees to bring back the oxygen levels we need. Right now, there are so many trees lost. But Spirulina is particularly useful because it can grow in 2 days. We can use something that they created at UBC, the University of British Columbia, called a Spirulina bag. And it's a little bit big. It would be from one end of this room to the other. But it can go into villages in India. They can grow food with it. Spirulina is 60% protein. It's full of EFA oils. It's considered a superfood. In fact, it's so good for the immune system. They say that if people are in the coronavirus world, they should be eating Spirulina because it really supports the immune system. So I'm talking about this right now, but Spirulina is one of those amazing things. And so providing food and carbon capture at the same time really interests me. Third thing it can do is if they use it instead of phosphates on the fields, then it creates really good fertilizer. So if they've got too much of it for eating, it can go on the fields and create a much better fertilizer than phosphate. And the fourth thing it can do is, guess this is unbelievable. But if you put it in the feed of cows, the methane disappears. I don't know if you know that cows produce methane. Well, when they are eating feed that has some Spirulina mixed in, the methane disappears. And there's 1 billion cows on the planet. Now, many of them are out foraging in the fields. It won't work, but often they're in feedlots. So I've decided as one of my projects, I'm going to take on this Spirulina project, which involves, guess what? We're coaching teams, getting team coaches together who then know about the Spirulina project, who know about ecology issues, who know about how to talk with teams in companies, and in their own countries will go and visit places like cement plants, offer to coach teams that might then take on these projects in exchange for team coaching. So we're giving coaching in exchange for people taking on and at least exploring these projects for their businesses. So that's a game plan we've set up. And it's just getting started. This is Erickson's 40th anniversary, so this is one of our big games. Okay, well, let me tell you about some of the other projects. They're good ones. This is Christopher Cook. Do any of you know Christopher Cook? He's a wonderful Erickson coach, and he's a spiral dynamics expert. And he's got a project across Britain with British farmers having to do with land management. So it's all about holistic coaching, how to assist farmers and people working with the land to think holistically. And holistic coaching is a beautifully organized field. It has to do with understanding the consequences of how things work together. So it's all about creating an ecology mindset and doing it first with land, but then in other areas as well. So we're creating a ongoing set of coaching days, a 2-hour project per week. I'm just trying to figure out if I'm saying it correctly here. We'll probably make it free for Erickson coaches. We'll take about 100 into the project with this one. And in exchange for getting the free ecology coaching, they will give as many hours as they get training. So they will need to commit to those hours in some way to either go out and work with farmers, this is in Britain, but in other areas work with people who are doing land management. And Christopher has a very complex and wonderful training program to assist them to work with land management people. So this is a pretty big project. They're getting quite a bit of money from the British government for it. And it looks like the coaches will, once they're well trained, this will be an effective niche for them as well. And it can go around the world and they will be able to use it. Is this of interest, guys? Are you wanting to hear about this? Yeah?
About spirulina, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Where can I find a little bit more to read about?
Well, I've got multiple articles on my computer, so I could send them to you. But I'll tell you what, I'll pass around a paper at the end of the day, and you can put your name down to find out about all of these various projects if you're interested, because we're inviting people to become part of the 40th anniversary project and learn eco coaching. So the eco coaching obviously has some area of working with a topic, getting skilled in it, being able to take it to people who need that topic, for example, land management, and then being able to coach them around that. And so there's a lot of materials, learning that's involved as well. It involves not only coaching, not just plain coaching, but it involves understanding that niche well enough that you can answer questions at the beginning. Okay. Perhaps I won't go into many more of these. We've named about 4 or 5. But what we're doing is encouraging coaches to find their own areas as well. And one person in China who came to our World Game got very inspired. She went back and talked to some leaders in the different plastic industries of China. They put together a project which she's now in charge of. They've got a whole new industry being created to work with formerly disposable plastic and create it into products. They're creating park benches and all sorts of things. And she just has done that since April. So this is pretty useful visioning that people are doing. What we want to do is assist people to envision specific areas where they can make a difference.